for KBTV. Thanks for joining today. Well, hurricane season is nearly upon us. It begins officially in June. I'm already hearing the speculation, the anxiety, as people try to predict what hurricane season 2007 will look like. Well, last year was a layup. We had a nearly perfect summer. The year prior, however, was the year of Big Bad Wilma, where some people after the storm were left without power for 3 weeks and some for even 6 weeks. My segment producer Rachel told me that her whole entire screen porch was ripped out and thrown into their pool. Flooding is an issue for those of us here on the coast, but what we really care about are the 100-mile-per-hour plus winds that rip off our roofs, knock down our houses, and steal away the street lights. What gets very little airtime, however, are issues that affect people who live in the counties surrounding Lake Okeechobee. These are people who typically are poor and disenfranchised and who don't have a voice. Well, maybe all of us in South Florida, maybe we should start listening. Last April, a group of independent engineers issued a report that, in light of what happened with Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans, is just shocking. One of the engineers compared the Herbert Hoover Dam, which surrounds Lake Okeechobee, to Swiss cheese. And the report said that the dam itself presents grave and imminent danger to all the residents that live in the 12 counties that surround Lake Okeechobee. The conclusion? There is a 1 in 6 chance every year during hurricane season that the dam will break. Yes, that's a 1 in 6 chance that the dam will fail. If it does, displacing 40,000 residents and infecting millions of others in the floodplains. So let's start at the beginning. In 1928, there was a disastrous hurricane that hit the Lake Okeechobee area, basically forcing the lake through a flimsy dam and killing roughly 2,500 African Americans in the floodplains. Essentially, that was our first mini Katrina. That's when the Army Corps of Engineers began building the massive Herbert Hoover Dam around the lake, making it possible to grow sugar and raise kids in towns such as Lewistown and Belle Glade. Well, by the 1980s, they had built 2,000 miles of levees and canals, making it safe for roughly 7 million people to reside in those areas. Today, the dikes leak already. The storms of Hurricane Wilma in 2005 eroded the berm around the lake. And if we have very, very fierce hurricane storms this year, that report, the independent engineering report, they say that the whole southeast shore of Lake Okeechobee will turn into another New Orleans, flooded and destroyed. So after the report got out, people were calling for immediate action from the Army Corps of Engineers. By the way, that's the same agency that built the levees in New Orleans. Well, what did the Army Corps of Engineers say? They said it was just sensationalism, but they've hired a new person to oversee the project of repairing the dam. His name is Colonel Paul Frostkruger. He says fixing the dam is his top priority. I finally managed to get someone on the phone in the press office at the Army Corps of Engineers, and I asked her about the construction on the dam, and she said that right now construction is temporarily halted. Well, I asked her if the threat of storms come and indeed the flooding becomes an imminent danger, do they have a contingency plan in place? And she said, well, when the water gets high, we blast the water out of the lake. That was their explanation. So with hurricane season just around the corner and the threat of these torrential storms and the destruction in the aftermath, and the odds that there's a 1 in 6 chance that the Herbert Hoover Dam will blow, have we learned nothing from the lessons of Katrina and the aftermath in New Orleans? Is anyone in the government awake? I guess all we can really hope for is that newly elected Governor Charlie Crist, that he has a rock-solid evacuation plan. Charlie Crist, are you listening? I'd like to hear what you think about this story. Please leave your comments in the box below. I'm Kate Bohner for KBTV. Thanks for joining today.